All right, I'm here once again at Occupy Flint, and now we're going to check out the solar power that they've employed here. So, introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Jason, and I install solar as kind of like a part-time gig. And you know, basically I'm a off-grid homesteader, or working toward being off-grid. And so what I do is, you know, actually with more than my own house systems, is help other people who have the money to research the appropriate energy conversion devices and or appliances to first enhance efficiency of, you know, the energy that they're using, whether it's, you know, building performance or you know, like say energy conversion performance and with hardware, electronics, solar thermal, solar electric, you know, wind generators are all solar, geothermal heating is all solar. And so we're basically converting this energy into like other useful forms of energy.
Right.
And so what I do is I help with appropriate technology transfer to people like organic farmers and you know just private homesteads, usually farms and farmers, and you know, just help them with their energy management first, and then try to shift them toward renewables, energy conversion equipment that they can privately own, and have control over the cost of their power over like many years, easily easily 25 years before any, you know, major maintenance issues generally would arise. You know, a lot of the electronics last you know, 15 to 30 years and longer without any trouble. And so the equipment that's out there as far as solar is like highly reliable. Almost all of it you can with confidence put in place to solve problems you know, requiring the use of energy, or you know, the energy to come from somewhere. And so, like I said, my focus on it is the fact that it is privately owned equipment that I maintain and control and use for our electrical purposes, which does not come from like a nuclear power plant or coal-fired plant. It does not take advantage of subsidized corporations, say, to reduce the apparent cost of your energy to like a third or a tenth of what it actually costs, so that you'll actually continue to. The subsidies are removed from fossil fuels, nuclear, and you know, other forms of you know, energy generation that we have, natural gas. Then solar would be king, you know, literally tomorrow if it were to happen today. And so the thing is that everybody's taxes basically pool to subsidize the use of something like gasoline. So the actual cost of gasoline, excuse me, is more like $15 to $20 a gallon. So to walk up to a pump where the price is you know, $4 a gallon even, and say, is it $4.15 today or is it $4.30? Damn it, I paid $4.15 down the road yesterday, and today it's like $4.30, and how should I have to bear this injustice? Well, if the true cost were transferred to you immediately, most people would not be able to afford gasoline for what they currently use gasoline for. They would have to strip back their use and or enhance the efficiency of the device they use to convert that energy into physical motion. And so basically, if you have another question for me, it's easier for me to go. Otherwise,
sure. No, that's totally fine.
Here.
Let's talk about some of the technology you have here now.
That's what you said. Okay.
Yeah, you guys have a solar array, obviously set up here, and then I'm gonna kind of zoom in on this sign. Battery charging, laptops, cell phones, radios, and AA, AAA rechargeables. Phased Logic Incorporated, solar and electric contractors. Get in on that right there. So, well,
this setup right here, this equipment particularly, we use for most office purposes. This is headlamp batteries, handheld radio batteries, you know, broadcast receiver batteries for like small shortwave radios that we have, LED lantern batteries. It does the laptop batteries, and if I didn't mention already, the cell phones. Probably the cell phones are like the most charged item or most energized item here. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, almost everybody, whether they come in, you know, on demonstration days, will almost always have like a dead phone, you know, and so people come in with all their dead batteries, like, bring us your dead discharged batteries. You know, we'll shine some light into them. And so the thing is this unit right here is 110 watts with a charge control. It has a charge control with a meter, kind of a handy little item. It'll tell you the amps inflowing from the sun. Right now it's 2.4 amps at 2.5 or 12.5 volts, so immediately it'll give you the idea of how much wattage is actually making it through to the controller. Now, of that wattage, we'll have like a certain amount of loss between the controller and the battery on its storage and then retrieval. These all are factored into design. But for most people's design purposes, you basically have a budget and you buy what you can within the budget that'll pretty much do what you want. You know, I mean, set up like this, 110 watts, obviously enough office power for, you know, a team of like, you know, 6 to 20 people at any given time. It will store enough power for recharging like cell phones and laptops and things for about 3 days on one battery. And what we do is we cycle batteries through this, where we're doing the staging a battery to go into it when the battery that's in it is full. And so, like I say, this is a transportable device. It is intended for demonstrations, and so it has these light bulb indicators of how much, you know, solar power you have available.
Right.
By, you know, each one is so many watts, and how many can we light under the current conditions. And so this is built for demonstration purposes, but we're actually using it here for practical purposes of keeping everybody's electronics up and working without having to run the generator for extended periods of time, like, you know, 24 hours or as many hours you want to operate electronic equipment or electrical equipment such as lights. Another important thing that we use this for is a backup power system. All we have to do, since we have an inverter on board, okay, let me show you what we have on board as far as equipment. We have the solar modules. They feed the charge control. The charge control keeps the battery from overcharging or undercharging. It will disconnect the loads from the battery in the event that the battery goes below a set voltage, and to basically avoid damaging the battery by overcharging or undercharging, and so or over discharging. And so what we have is we have an inverter that we strap to this. If we want, like, say, 120 volt house power from the 12 volt battery system, we'll turn that on and run AC power for people that don't have like a 12 volt or a USB type charger for their cell phone, or if they have a laptop, which, you know, again, if they don't have the automotive charger, I got to go through an inverter, which is another efficiency loss. And so the best efficiency is gained or taken advantage of by using something like this. This is like a common USB hub. Usually it's powered. We don't have it powered with the DC jack that would plug into like an AC power, like your house power or say that inverter. We use this as a splitter device to gang charge up to, you know, 7 phones on this particular one. We have another one that's 4. We could add them both together and probably pull it through this device here, which is a 12 volt to 24 volt. It'll operate at any input nominal 12 to 24 volts. And it will convert it to a steady 5 volt 1 amp output. And so what that means is, you know, I mean, these cell phones don't take anywhere near an amp to charge. And so since we have an amp available at 5 volts, we can charge multiple cell phones at a high rate of charge. I don't know exactly what that figure is, so I'd have to check before I maybe go any further than that with what I'm saying about it exactly. But the practical application works, which is multiple phones plugged into a battery with a direct DC to DC voltage conversion rather than a DC to AC waveform and voltage conversion. And so, you know, high efficiency is gained here. What I have is like a quick charger, a pulse width modulated quick charger for AA's and AAA's, which I'll have like my headlamp and any other handheld lights. Generally, I'll have like a AAA or a AA. We use those. This is a 12 volt, so when you're shopping for this stuff, what you're looking for is DC 12 volt. And what that is there's a transformer that plugs into your 120 volt house or inverter power, and we'll operate this device. But since we shop for one that operates on 12 volts nominal, we have batteries that float anywhere between 14 volts and 11.5 and a good battery, and so, or a charging battery. And so this device will handle that voltage swing and regulate its output. Quick charge batteries in an hour or less. I usually see about 45 minutes. My batteries are very responsive because I keep them charged all the time. Batteries of any type do not like to sit discharged for any length of time. They've got some other technologies coming out, not proven, I don't believe, but that are shown to work, that, you know, batteries can sit for an extended length of time and not self-discharge very much, or be dead, you know, for a couple of years and be used. But generally what you're talking about is like a trade-off in the capacity and energy delivery of the battery. And So anyways, we like to use this 12-volt stuff on the 12-volt systems. It is the highest efficiency conversion of, or transfer of power from the battery to any device that we have that doesn't have a cord on it, which requires batteries. So we want to charge the batteries directly from DC to DC rather than DC to AC to, DC in the device after it charges the batteries. And so since we're talking about cell phones and things, what we have here is just a half of one of our generally we use this for a communications media pack. I've got 4 of these batteries here. They're from electric scooters. They're a 12 amp hour or a 10 amp hour 12 volt battery. What this tells us is that we have 5 amp hours at 12 volts. That's 1 amp for 5 hours or 5 amps for 1 hour, any crisscross in between mathematically. And so basically this will charge a fleet of cell phones over and over and over and over again for probably about the better part of a week when it's fully charged. And so what we use this for is like mobile power supply. We'll either run like a small inverter, even a 200 watt one like that, or even larger. I mean, I've had 400 watt inverters on these batteries. We can gang them into 2s if we need extended power. But this is light enough to carry, and so what we have is we have a backpack with a PA system in it, CB radio with a PA system. And we'll charge these off the solar. The small 50 watt array on the roof. It's actually 45 watts, but we've got another 5 watt module for it. And so the 50 watt array on the roof will charge these through a solar charge control that I have mounted inside the RV that is bolted to my radio station, which is like 2-meter ham radio and CB radio. What this offers is county-wide radio on the Citizens Band and countrywide, worldwide sometimes under certain conditions. I wouldn't say quite worldwide, but as far away as the Caribbean, and we've talked to England and things like that. And so the whole eastern seaboard on a lot of mornings, depending on the incoming solar radiation and its angle in relation to us and where their other transmitting receiving station is at. And so my radio station is in there. I generally use these batteries to power my radio station and like a backup power supply at home, which would be like an inverter with compact fluorescent lights for emergency lighting and communications under all conditions, uninterruptible lighting and communications. And so, batteries like this can last, 15 or 20 years if they're kept well maintained and charged at most times. They don't want to sit discharged. They want to go below 50% of charge very often. Otherwise, you get hundreds and hundreds and sometimes 1,000 or more cycles out of them. And so if you're shallowly discharging your batteries over time, that's when you get house batteries that last 15 years, pushing things like air conditioners even and stuff. And so not that you'd want to really do that with your solar power, but you could. And so this is used for roving media pack. We will have this socket plugged into an inverter and or a USB jack like that to keep like a video phone like the one you're taking this or actually what is yours, a camera?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so like a lot of people will use their telephones because they have like a internet uplink through the cell link, and so we have this like roving video capability. Well, they eat the batteries like very quick, and so we just jack into this battery and stick it in a backpack and you got like all-day camera. And so what we'll also have is people traveling with a camera and taking video. We've got like a 1,000,000 candle power spotlight that runs off of this. And so, it's like our universal heavy-duty portable power pack here. And so
just a note for the viewers, that's actually the same battery that charged the camera that I'm using right now.
Yep. When the sun wasn't shining, long after the sun had gone down, his camera was depleted and was concerned about leaving it out here like we have a cell phone charging here. Generally, items of electronic nature, valuable nature around here don't, walk away very often. We've had a really good track record of people's stuff not getting stolen, and so. But you were concerned about it, and so he asked me, what we could do to charge it. And so, we have the battery sitting there. It is stored energy waiting to be used, and actually loses a tiny bit of that energy the longer it's sitting in storage. So why not? Since I can charge your phone probably 100 times out of that battery, just let you plug into it for a few hours. And so that's what we have. But we have access to electricity through storage from the sun and or from a generator. When we need backup power or heavy-duty power, we will run the generator. We've scaled it back, and if we manage our power correctly, I think under the current, with the equipment that we actually have here, and optimization techniques like getting this guy out of the shade like it is kind of right now, we can go generatorless, but the want to keep it on hand will be great enough that we'll do that. We'll keep it here.
I remember you guys said that because of the solar, you have actually been able to use the generator a lot less.
Yeah, we've used it like maybe We've used it a couple of times for a period of like 2 to 6 hours. Sometimes we've used it as long as 8 hours if we had a big fleet of dead batteries come in that were donated. Like when the RV came in, its batteries were completely depleted and we had to charge. If there's like poor energy management over a course of few cloudy days, intermittent sunny days like today, then what'll happen is we'll go beyond our energy budget and end up with like a fleet of all dead batteries over a period of a week, in which case we'd start the generator to avoid battery damage and keep the lights on. And so the generator will run the house power. I'll give an order or a request that everybody that has electronic devices, to charge and plug them in and use anything you intend to want to use electricity for right now while the generator is running, because even at an idle, it's putting out 2/3 more power than we would ever draw out of it here.
Right.
And so we want to load it as much as we can while it's running, and so what we have is like a gang fleet of battery chargers, and we'll stick like 4 batteries on 10 amp chargers and bring them up. And so, if you're going to have a setup like this with multiple batteries or a large battery bank over 1 or 2 of these deep cycle batteries, you would want like a heavy duty battery charger that can operate off a generator. And in my eyes, though, actually what you'd want is enough solar modules where you don't actually ever need a generator, and that's like a battle that you fight with dollars.
Right.
So, like,
I was going to ask what the cost ends up being.
Yeah, a 185 watt module, a like state-of-the-art single crystal glass covered aluminum frame module like that, is half the price it was 3 years ago. There was actually a module shortage where you'd wait like a year if you wanted any appreciable amount of modules, and it was like people buying big pallets of them were first serve. And so a module like that is about $500, $550 you should pay for something. $2.20 a watt to like $2.80 a watt. But you can get uni-solar made right in Lake Orion. It's an amorphous solar. It's a thin film, flexible module that is much like the module that you see in the face of a calculator, a solar-powered calculator. Same material, and it is in a roll of pressure-sensitive adhesive, like a sticker. And what this is used for is like you stick it down between panels of standing seam architectural-grade steel roofing, and it is like one of the very best solar roofing materials. I have people all the time say, "Hey, did you know they came out the other day with some solar shingles?" And I'm like, "Man, dude, they've been making them in Lake Orion for 25 years," and it's this amorphous thin film material. But anyway, so they have this sticker, this pressure sensitive sticker. It's not ever coming off, and your steel roof has like an 80-year guarantee on the color. The cosmetics are guaranteed for 80 years to be, okay. And so, you have like a 100 or a 200-year roof if it's well maintained and well installed, installed well. And so, this is the technology we're talking, like a roofing material that serves also as the mount and, backing or substrate for solar modules. And so it's like an excellent thing. Right on Hill Road here in Flint, about 6-7 miles south of us, is a place that actually applies the uni-solar 124 volt. They're like up to 16 feet long, and they're the cheapest. What I was getting at is they're the cheapest solar module you can actually buy that I've seen. It's at a price of like 80 cents a watt. And so the difference between 80 cents a watt and $2.20 a watt is a world of magnitude. But they don't have hard frames and glass like this. It's a flexible thing that you have to have actually the substrate for. Whether that is like a sheet of aluminum flashing that you hang on something like this tent facing an appropriate direction and angle, perpendicular to the sun, is average. And with that, we can have 124 volt or 124 watt 12 volt modules that will operate common voltage batteries such as these, or gangs of them in parallel, or big versions of them even, at the cheapest price possible, which is, like I said, it's like 80 or 90 cents a watt. I think the 124 watt module is somewhere in the area of like $110, I think, or somewhere.
That's
like
not
that.
bad.
Yeah, I know, and so that's the cheapest way to buy like 124 watts that I know of. There's nothing cheaper that I've seen, and it's made right here in Lake Orion. So for Michiganders, that's always an excellent plus. It supports local business and keeps some of our money here longer, and also supports an energy conversion method that is literally inexhaustible to a point. The actual production capacity and everything, even if we covered everything with solar modules, I don't know what effect that would have on absorption of light that should otherwise be like bouncing around and refracting and doing other magic. But to put as many of these out here as we need to run super efficient devices like the one you're holding, basically that thing runs on nothing. And when you're talking like converting from, the old technology like refrigerator freezers that use super, like even your best Energy Star, Maytag, kick-ass GE refrigerators and Frigidaire, whatever, I don't care what it is. The very best Energy Star appliances do not even come close to the efficiency of something even like, I think,